Hello parents, I'm Brad Mitchell, the principal of Timothy Christian High School. Kevin Hackett and I will be going through some things that you need to know about our new one-to-one initiative this year, as well as provide you some helpful tips for you as parents to help you navigate this ever-changing world of technology. Why are we going one-to-one at Timothy Christian High School? Take a look at two pictures of the announcement of the past two popes and see if you notice a difference. The first photo is from 9 years ago, announcing Pope Benedict XVI. What is the difference between this photo from 2005 and this photo on the right of Pope Francis from last year? Our world is changing dramatically, and we are embracing these changes. Yet we want our students to see these changes through the lens of a Christian perspective. By providing the power of a handheld device, this allows teachers to design different lessons than they've ever been able to design in the past. Rather than having to go to a computer lab where they have to deal with changing rooms and sharing lab space with all the other classes at school, now a teacher can have a student access the internet just for a couple minutes in the middle of class. They can have students create multimedia presentations, and they can look up real, up-to-the-minute information and data. The power of these devices allows for more personalization of instruction. These devices allow students to get practice on a specific skill that they need to work on as an individual student rather than as a whole class. Because these devices are always connected at school or at home to the internet, information will be available anytime, virtually anywhere. If a student has access to Wi-Fi, they will have course information, things like homework and handouts, or even possibly classroom presentations. Students can research any questions that they have immediately. If a question arises during class or they're confused, they will have immediate access to answers to their question. This will also be a great way for students to organize their work if they choose. They can keep all of their notes on their device rather than having a separate notebook for each course. For students that are disorganized, this is a great organizational tool. Being one-to-one will also provide teachers the opportunity for more project-based learning, which will allow students to do more projects to apply their learning, like creating a movie or writing an ebook summarizing their learning, or developing illustrations to represent their learning in a different or non-traditional way. This will also provide teachers the opportunity to learn if students are understanding material as they're going through their lesson. Sometimes teachers don't know if a student is understanding material until a quiz, test, or paper. This tool allows teachers to ask a question to the class and have each student answer the question anonymously, so students don't have to be nervous about looking dumb. A teacher can then immediately change course on what they're teaching or move forward with confidence, knowing that the students are keeping up. Lastly, we need to train our students how to be responsible with this technology. Putting a device in every student's hand allows us to guide our students to make wise choices as a Christian and instruct them on how to live as a Christian in this new age where everything we do is public and available to virtually everyone. As a school, I feel like we have a responsibility to make sure our students are equipped as believers in Christ to live in this world and impact this world in a positive way. There are many devices we could have chosen: laptops, Android tablets, Chromebooks, or we could have even had students bring their own device. But after a great deal of research and investigating what other schools were doing, we decided that iPads were the best fit for Timothy. Some reasons we decided on iPads were that, first, they had a great battery life. The device will last all day on a single charge. It has instant-on access, so no class time will be lost waiting for students' machines to boot up. Apple has a great relationship with education and has had a great relationship for a while, and they also have a very strong app market. There are many resources created actually by Apple to help teachers implement iPads into their classroom. iPads are very light and portable. Many students also are very familiar with iPads and iPhones, so the transition will be much smoother than if we used something else that was less popular. And also, there's a great track record for stability and support with iPads. They don't crash very often, and Apple is very responsive if something goes wrong with their device. As we begin this journey, we will have students use their iPads to access our learning management system, which is called Edmodo. On Edmodo, students will be able to access assignments and classroom resources. This will also allow for easier communication between the teacher and students through this system. teachers will do informal checks for understanding by using apps like Nearpod, for example. Teachers can send a question to each student's iPad. Each student will then respond, and a teacher will then know which student understands what they just covered and which student doesn't. Students will be able to use Google Apps for saving and accessing all of their files from their iPad. Some teachers may even hand out materials using Google Drive, and students could then hand them in the very same way. Students can easily take notes using an app like Notability. Honestly, the sky is the limit as to how teachers and students use this device. Each teacher will likely implement it differently with different levels of frequency, but the power is available for each teacher to use the iPad in a wide variety of ways.
I would suspect that a family new to Equip could have a lot of questions. And if you haven't had the opportunity, I would suggest you check out our frequently asked questions found at www.timothychristian.com/iPad. But I'm hoping to cover a few of the basics here with you now. For starters, warranty. Timothy has already purchased for your student a warranty with GoCare. Your student's iPad will be covered by this plan for the entire 3 years. If there is a manufacturer's defect, we will begin with Apple in hopes of having them cover it for free. But if not, both manufacturer defects and accidental coverage come with only a $50 deductible plus possible shipping cost, which the student will be responsible for paying. Stolen devices have a $100 deductible plus shipping, but also require a police report, and the student will also be responsible for replacing a lost case. Lost iPads will not be covered. We will turn on Find My iPad to mitigate these problems, but students will be held fully responsible for lost devices. I would also like to mention that we have purchased very rugged cases to prevent any damage. We believe this will greatly reduce the number of claims for accidental damage, and therefore we are requiring students to keep the iPad in that case at all times. A more important question that is probably on a lot of minds is how are we going to keep your child safe with this new device? We are very aware of the many different types of online dangers, from lack of privacy, online stalkers, and the availability of pornography and violence. But we do have systems in place to defend against these issues. We instruct students on what to share and what not to share. We discuss cyber safety in many of our classes. We have web filters, which help block information that we believe is inaccurate or inappropriate for our school setting. We keep complete logs on internet traffic, and therefore can review any individual's internet use, regardless if that is on a computer, laptop, iPad, or even their personal phone on our guest network. And finally, we have an excellent staff. Their presence and awareness of your student is probably our best deterrent. They model how a responsible Christian uses technology just as they model other Christian traits. They're also constantly walking around their rooms to keep everyone on task. Finally, they know your student and will talk with your student when they see the need, even if it is for simply spending too much time facing the screen. While that is all true for while your student is on campus, one of the real benefits of this program is that they can take these devices home, a place where not everyone has an enterprise-class web filter, extended firewall logs, and teachers wandering through the rooms. Fortunately, we are extending all these services, at least that we can, not only to your home, but anywhere your student takes the iPad. These devices are managed by Timothy Christian Schools, which allows us to place certain restrictions on them. Some of the restrictions that we are enforcing include a built-in web filter blocking all adult content, an app filter that will only allow apps which Apple has rated safe for 9-year-olds, a media filter which only allows PG movies and television shows, and no music with explicit language. Finally, the device is managed by school, which means if it is ever lost or stolen, it cannot be wiped and used by another individual. Instead, during setup, it will always contact Timothy's servers and request permission to continue. This means we will know where it is, and a student will need to enter their username and password before they can even see a home screen. We hope these features will not hinder your students' use of the iPad, but we do believe they will help us control its use 24/7. But internet safety is much more than just putting restrictions on a device. We want to encourage good use of these devices and believe that requires the partnership of home and school. As a parent, there are many things that you can do to guide healthy, appropriate usage. and not just with the iPad, but with all the devices your child has access to. First of all, we can limit screen time. Obviously, they will be using it more for homework, but keep entertainment time limited, just like you probably already do with video games and television. Another good idea is creating public areas for your children to do their homework. If they're using their devices in the living room, office, or kitchen, there's a greater chance that they'll be able to stay on task. There is no reason why a student needs to bring any device into their room at night by themselves. As a matter of fact, there are many studies done on how viewing screens right before bed actually decreases your body's ability to sleep. If you're worried about web filtering on any other device, you could look into a home filtering option like OpenDNS, which can filter all devices using your home internet, even the Xbox, PlayStation, or DS. Also, parents will be able to set up additional restrictions as they see fit on these iPads. If you would prefer a student not to be able to download any apps or prefer movies and TV shows restricted to G ratings, that can all be done in restrictions. For instructions on how to add restrictions to an iPad, please see our website at www.timothychristian.com/iPad. But even more important than family rules will be keeping an open communication between you and your child. If your child uses Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or any other social media, follow them. See what they're posting and how their friends react to those posts. Let them know that you're aware of the temptations and dangers online. Explain to them that you're always available to talk about any questions they have, or if they ever view or participate in something that they later realize was not appropriate. If they are not afraid to share with you their experiences, they are more likely to come for you for advice. But rather than focus on the negatives, I would like to suggest that we consider the positive influence we can have on your students' future by helping them build a great digital footprint. They are constantly creating media and sharing that content online. This culmination of information creates a digital profile that will be their online reputation for years to come. They may not realize it yet, but this is a very powerful thing. Too often, students believe that what they do will not affect their futures. This is demonstrated with amazing clarity with an extremely popular app called Snapchat. The app allows users to take a picture or a video and share them with the recipients for 2 to 10 seconds. After that, they're supposed to be deleted from the recipient's phone with no way of viewing them again. The app says it created this service to allow the user to experience pictures in the moment, just like real life. But obviously, it has been a favorite app for sending pictures which the sender wants no permanent record of the event. It didn't surprise me that an app like this existed, but it did amaze me that it sends over 400 million messages per day, with a core audience between 13 and 25 years old. What may have surprised some of those users is that there is also an app called Snap Hack, which automatically saves a copy of the picture or video sent using Snapchat without notifying the sender. So many of these messages were sent thinking they were only available for 2 to 10 seconds. But in reality, they were able to be saved and reshared to the world. This is only one example of how technology can make us feel anonymous, or at least that we have some control over our privacy, when in fact that is often not the case. Web pages are constantly scanned and saved offline, where even changing one's privacy settings or deleting one's account later does not completely clear one's digital profile. And that digital profile will be important to your son or daughter before they know it. For example, did you know that in 2008, just over 10% of colleges did a search for an applicant's online profile? By 2013, that number is over 30%. Employers are even more aggressive. A study by Crosstab reports that in 2010, 79% of employers minimally use Google and Facebook to research any new job seeker. But more impressively, one of the fastest growing businesses are companies that do a deep search for online profiles, finding information that a simple Google search would never turn up. These companies cache pages from social websites, so a student isn't able to simply delete content right before starting their interview process. This type of digital profiling is not going away. So here is our opportunity to help students realize that what they put online is going to affect their futures. Creating a positive digital profile is just one of the skills we plan on teaching our students as they learn how to become wise technology users. Finally, our mission here at Timothy is to develop academically prepared Christian disciples who embrace Christ's call to transform the world. Our students can be a witness through their digital profile by how they interact with that world. I hope this answers a few of your questions and gives you some insight into our hopes for this project. I do want to remind you once again that many of your other questions are probably answered at www.timothychristian.com/iPad in the frequently asked questions. That is also where we'll be building a list of resources for parents to help them become more active participants in their child's digital lives.
Since we have a captive audience, there are a couple more things that we wanted to share with all parents. As many of you know, this will be the first year for our Renew program. Students will register for their on-campus Renew courses mid to late October. The Renew term will be from January 6th to January 16th, and students will be required to be here each day, including the half-day celebration day on Friday, January 16th. Now, if you have the time and ability to teach a Renew course, we would love for you to come and share your passion with our students and provide them with more course options. We need between 14 to 16 outside teachers to come in and teach a course. If you're interested in teaching a course or would like more information, please contact Tira Bone at timothychristian.com. We would also love for you to host a student as an intern for our Renew program. If you would be willing to have a student come and shadow you or someone at your company, again, contact Tira Bone via email. For more information about Renew in general, go to timothychristian.com, click the high school link, then programs, and there will be a link to new programs in 2014-15 titled Renew and Equip. Lastly, we know that we have many resources in the Timothy community, so we would like to invite any parent that would like to volunteer to come and join us. We need help with things like library supervision and organization of the books, student tutors, help with student events like Friday Night Lights or Homecoming, or helping organizing music for band, choir, or orchestra. If you're interested in volunteering, please email me, Mr. Mitchell, Brad Mitchell, at mitchell@timothychristian.com. Finally, PI, our Partners in Education, will also be sending you some information about volunteering in other ways. So keep your eyes open for that email. Thank you for watching this video, and we're looking forward to a great school year.